ये गोरे सन, अंग्रेज़ सन, पर किस तरीके नाल ये सिੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਤੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੁੱਤ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ।
God made me sick, so this was how I became sick. But my first step to Siki was when my son was born, and I decided not to cut his case.
प्रभ कै सिमरन गर्भ न बसै, प्रभ कै सिमरन दुख जम नसै, प्रभ कै सिमरन काल पर हरै, प्रभ कै सिमरन दुश्मन टरै, प्रभ सिमरत कछ बिघ्न न लागै, प्रभ कै सिमरन आंधे जागै, प्रभ कै सिमरन पौ न व्यापै, प्रभ कै सिमरन दुख न संतापै।
My son learned Gurmukhi before he learned English, so Gurmukhi is very important. I learned Gurmukhi myself when I was 12 years old. I was not even sick, but I knew one day I will read the Guru Granth Sahib. So I taught myself Gurmukhi. I would say teach your children to love God from their heart. Keep talking to them. Keep teaching them to the point where they feel comfortable. They're not shy to express love. So it doesn't matter what religion you are.
मूल मंत्र तो 3 ਜਾਂ 4 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਕਈ ਹਫ਼ਤਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਲਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਮੈਂ। ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ 6 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਇਆ, ਨਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜਪਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਰਹਿਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕਈ ਪਾਠ ਸਿਖਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਫਿਰ 9 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਵਾਜਾ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ। ਬਿਨ ਰੋਗ ਰਜਾਈਆਂ ਦਾ ਓੜਨ, ਨਾਗ ਨਿਵਾਸਾ ਦੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਨਾਗ ਨਿਵਾਸਾ ਦੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਮਿੱਤਰ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਹਾਲ ਮੁਰੀਦਾ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ।
When we are remembering God's name all the time, then we get inspiration directly from God, and Guru is able to teach us and help us teach. And only this can come from the religion of Siki, which is to be royal. So beta, do you think that they felt fear before the moments of death?
No.
Why?
This life is very temporary. It is a temporary death. We will go to God after this. We'll have many more chances. Many more things will happen. And so they knew that they were supposed to help people in their life, and they were supposed to worship God, praise Him, every breath.
They see the people who have a turban and a beard, and they are supposed to represent God, but those people are not happy. They still have a fault of their own because they never pursued that relationship personally. And I promise you this, that if you personally talk to God, God will hear you, and you will know that He hears you. Personally, I don't think that the life abroad is better than the life here, unless you're having such a great life, which very few people are doing that. So to me, they're giving up something to go get something worse. Why? Especially if you're giving up land. Oh, please, please, do not give up your land. I do think that we have the ability to work towards it, to set a goal, to say, you know what, maybe in 20 years, Punjab can be like this. I will teach my children that, hey, instead of going outside, we can stay here, we can work the land, we can sell organic produce, right? We can make herbs, we can make special plants. We don't have to just do the same plants. We can find plants that people need and that they will be able to use, that will make them strong. So we should take farming more seriously. I'm doing this purely based off of Guru Sahib, who's living alive in my heart.
ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਅੱਜ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਪੋਡਕਾਸਟ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ 2 ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਆ। ਇਹ ਪਿਓ ਪੁੱਤਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਬੋਰਨ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੱਜੇ, ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੱਜੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਬੋਲਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਅੱਜ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿ ਵੀ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਦਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਪਿਤਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਨ, ਇਹ ਗੋਰੇ ਸਨ, ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ ਸਨ, ਪਰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਤੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੁੱਤ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਦਾ, ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਵੀ ਕਰਦਾ। ਹੁਣ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ,
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿਦਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਾਫੀ ਦੇਰ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚੈਨਲਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤਾਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਮਜ਼ਾਕ ਨਾ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਿਓ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਸ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਮਿਲੇਗੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੁਣ ਲਿਓ। ਕਿਵੇਂ ਦਾ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ?
Excellent, thank you.
Excellent.
ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਜੀ।
ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ। How you become sick?
It's not an easy answer, but the easy answer is God made me sick. So this was how I became sick. But my first step to Siki was when my son was born, and I decided not to cut his case. So that is the first step. And then as time went on from there, I learned more, I understood more.
What is your background? Basically, where are you from, belong from? And when you are not a Sikh, you know about what is Sikhi?
Yeah, so I'm from Toronto, Canada. I was born downtown there, and I went to school there. And so in the school we had everybody, all nationalities. And I knew what was Siki a little bit because my family, my mother's side is Sikh. But when she married my father, she became Christian.
She became Christian.
Yeah, so I was raised with a Christian background. And so yes, I knew what is Sikh, but it took me a very long time to understand it, truly.
Basically, what change happened in your life when you become a Sikh?
A lot of change happened at different times. So my childhood was a very good childhood. But then there came a time when I saw a lot of hypocrisy. So that means when someone says one thing, oh, we believe this, but they don't do it. And so that made me question a lot of things. That made me question the way I was brought up. And I started looking more and more. And I found Siki, I found Guru Nanak Dev Ji, I found Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and more those things interested me more. At first, I was captured by them because of how much they reminded me of certain people in the Bible. But then, as time went on, I started to understood the real power of Siki and how it is different from everything. There was a time in my life where I thought all religion is just the same, and people are just confused.
Confusing.
You know, but it took me a long time to appreciate why Siki is necessary, and it is necessary for right now, not just 400 years ago.
You think Sikh is necessary now?
Yes, that is why I became Sikh, is because growing up in America, I have certain values, and a sovereign value was one of them that I understood in my 20s, that need. And I saw that Siki is the way to embrace that in an organized, lawful way.
Why you think Sikhi can organize anything in your life in political way or in social way?
Because the power of Siki comes directly from God. So the power that is in the world, that makes the world happen, all these cities, all these governments, This is just coming from history. This is not coming directly from God. It is not new inspiration. They have done the same things over again and over again. They make the same mistakes. But when we are connected directly to God, when we have the part, when we are doing the part, when we are remembering God's name all the time, then we get inspiration directly from God, and Guru is able to teach us
Jesus.
and help us teach. And only this can come from the religion of Siki, which is to be royal.
How you come to know about Sikhi? Because you are born and brought up in America, there are many few people who think about Sikhi, who know about Sikhi. How you come to know?
My first exposure to Siki is through my own grandparents. So when I go to meet my Nana ji and my Nani ji, I saw it. My Nana ji, who I call Papa ji, was always in his room.
Yes.
So maybe my entire life, until I was 20 years old, I spent 2.5 hours with him the entire time. I just see him sometimes when he comes down for cha, I give him a hug, and that's it. But in my mind, I was always curious, what is he doing in his room? How can he do this every day? Why is he doing this? And so I made a promise to myself that one day I would find out. When my mother became Christian, the pracharak told her, he said, what if the Bible is correct and you do not read it? You do not try to understand it. What do you think should happen to you? And she said, okay, I understand. I should take my punishment, so I will read the Bible. So when I heard this, I said, how can I make a decision what is true and correct if I never read it for myself?
Yes.
So I always had in the back of my mind, when I grow up, when I am my own man, I will learn this. The second exposure to Siki came from me as a pracharak. So I was a pracharak to other Sikhs. So I was finding Sikhs in California, British Columbia, Toronto, and going and preaching to them about the Bible. So that is, I met so many Sikhs. I got to hear their stories. But that made it more confusing for me because, what I found out later is very few Sikhs understand Sikhi.
Understand Sikhi.
So as a Christian, if you are asking them a question, first of all, you have a very limited view. Myself, when I was a Christian, I'm only looking for a certain answer. If they give another answer, I'm not interested.
Yes.
So I'm not actually, my heart and my mind is not open. But then second of all, the Sikhs who are willing to speak to a pracharak, they are very angry, they're upset.
They are upset. So
I will hear the worst stories. I heard stories about granthis, about this, and so that brings me to my third exposure, which is my mother. And growing up with my grandfather, she never believed that the gurus are anything but good. They are only good. And this is what she taught me. But she taught me that it is other people who came and changed the religion. And so that is why Sikhism is no longer good. But the gurus themselves were people who followed God. So I thought of them as maybe like a prophet. But later I understood that they are much more than a prophet. They are Satguru.
You think Guru Nanak Sahib, Guru Gobind Sahib, Shri Guru Har Gobind Sahib, they are Satguru?
They are Satguru. They are not the same as any prophets in the Bible. They are not the same as Moses or David or Jeremiah or anybody like that. They are Satguru. They are the Word of God is speaking directly through them.
ਕੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਹੁਣ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੋ
ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ 'ਚ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕੋ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੈਰਾਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਓ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੇਟੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ, ਵੈਨ ਯੂ ਲੁੱਕ ਔਨ ਯੋਰ ਫੇਸ ਇਨ ਮਿਰਰ, ਤੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਇਸ ਸਰੂਪ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ?
When I was 29 or 30 years old, that is when I took the surup. And before that, I was coming to it, and I just had to make sure for myself that I fully understood it. Because for me, it is a big change, and I know it will upset a lot of my family. So all my family who is Christian will not speak to me after I have a turban and a beard. So I took it very slow. I made sure I 100% understand why I'm doing this.
You regularly do Nitnem?
Yes. We do it as a family.
In family?
Yeah. Every morning at 7 a.m. we do Nitnem together. Then evening we do Raharas together.
You think you are connected with God, you are connected with Satguru, you are connected with directly Akal Purakh?
100%, yes. Because I refuse to accept the hukam from anyone else. So I am not living my life based off of what somebody else has told me, what another institution has told me, what another government has told me. I'm doing this purely based off of Guru Sahib, who's living alive in my heart.
Most of our modern Sikhs, they have opinion that we can live with the modern world, we can change ourselves. You also see, you are living in Punjab, that you're seeing there are many of youngsters who don't have beards on their face, who don't have juda in their head. They don't like hairs.
Yes, so the times will change. The modern times will come, and a new modern time will come. Everything will always change. But the hukam that Guruji gave us never changes. It is for those times. Guruji is full of so much wisdom that of course they knew that these times would come. Of course they knew that times would come when it is no longer prestigious to have a beard. It is now the opposite. Now, before, they look up to someone who has a beard. Now it is not always that way. So of course Guruji knew that this would happen. So Guruji, in the wisdom of Guruji, told us to keep a dadi, to keep a turban, to keep shastar. That this is a very important part of living in this world right now. And if we do not do it, then we are saying, you know what? Why do we need freedom? We only want the freedom that you will give us. That's what we are saying to the governments and to the organizations and to the peoples. We only need the freedoms that you will give us. But yet Guruji is offering us freedoms. And that is the real freedom. The freedom to be with our family, the freedom to learn unbounded wisdom. We can keep learning forever. That is freedom. We can keep teaching.
Keep teaching, yes. This is original freedom.
Yes.
ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਾਮ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ? ਸਮਝ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ?
Yeah, so what do I think when someone puts Singh at the end of their name?
ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਸਿੰਘ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਕੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਮੂੰਹ ਤੇ ਦਾੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਤੇ ਜੇ 10 ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਪੁੱਛ ਲਓ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਪਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਹਾਂ। ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ? ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਨ ਟ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਹੈ।
So when I was born, in my birth certificate, my birth name is Singh. That's what my mother put, even though by that time she was no longer sick. So I grew up as Singh.
Okay.
I grew up, even though I had my hairs cut. You know, in my school, it was a small school. I was the only Singh there. There were other Indians, there were other people, but I was the only Singh there. Later, my name changed. After my mother got remarried, to make going back and forth from Canada to America easier, my name changed. And I felt a part of me was taken out. And as soon as I went to live on my own, I changed my name back to Singh. And this is even before I am understanding Siki. So personally, I believe that when Guruji gives us blessings, he gives us a good name.
Good name.
Right? Which is Singh. He gives us a turban, he gives us case, gives us shastar. Any one of these is a blessing.
Yes.
So sometimes people, they're not aware how much blessing is there. They haven't learned how much of a blessing it is. But any one of these things, or more, I'm not limiting to this, can lead us back to Guruji. So when I see this, I just say a silent prayer in my heart that they will come to see the true glory of Guruji. Because that's what I want. I want all of us to start using our freedoms and develop the kind of world that we want to see. I don't want people to be victim to this world. We can decide how we want to live in this world. We can take responsibility for our actions. So I want them to become a Sardar.
Whenever you wear this turban, wear this tumala, wear this chola, and what you think?
I am in the holy city. I am in the timeless place. I am so blessed. That's what I think. But if it doesn't make sense, I'm happy to explain it more.
Connected to God.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it is a statement that I only work for God. So this is how I was feeling before I donned a dumala and a chola. But when you're going to get a haircut every 2-3 weeks and you're doing these things, nobody else knows this. So they expect things from you and your life can get very difficult. But when you don the appearance of Guruji, then people understand, oh, okay, this is where he's going. And the people who are trying to snatch you, take you a different way, they will go away.
Do you think Guru Sahib is always with you?
Is honest with me?
Always with you?
100%. When I came to the place that I understand the message of Guruji, I realized that Guruji was always with me. So I went through several years where I was upset that I was raised Christian. I said, why was I not raised Sikh? Why was my hair cut? I was upset about this. But then, at 25 years old, I understood that Guruji had always been with me, and that it was Guruji's hukam that I am raised the way that I was raised. And now I have important work. Now I've learned things. Now I have to bring it back. There was a reason I learned all those things. There was a reason I was raised that way.
ਕਦੇ ਏਦਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸ ਕੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਆਪ ਆ ਕੇ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਹੋਵੇ?
So you said when it's difficult, when times are difficult, then I still know that Guru is there?
Guru is there and Guru helped you when
Yeah.
you are in problem.
Yeah.
There is any situation in
Yeah.
your life?
Absolutely. So there has been many, many times. The times that it is most pronounced in my life is when Guruji was building me up with wisdom and understanding. When I was 25 years old, my second son was born with complications. He was in the hospital. And they said, we do not understand what is wrong with him. But we don't think he can live. The doctor said, you know what, this baby will not even be born alive. He will not breathe. Then he was breathing, very good. But they're still confused. So they wanted to just give him so much morphine and let him die. And I said, no, if he's not in pain, why are you giving him morphine?
No.
Then, to make a long story short, the hospital, they took me to court. They said, we will take custody of your son, your youngest son, and we will get custody taken away from your older son. Up until this point, everyone said, oh, they are the best parents. They are such good parents. He stays with his son all day long. His older son is so well behaved. And now they're saying, oh, we will take them away from you because you asked too many questions. When our nurse comes in to do something, you're asking questions. I said, did I ever tell them not to do something? No, you never told them not to. But they are nervous because they don't know how to answer your questions. So they took me to court. In the court, I represented myself. I did not accept a lawyer. And I wrote an affidavit to the judge. I said, I am Singh. I am a sovereign human being. And I have never consented to giving responsibility away for the life of my children. I have never consented to that. I have never given up my rights. This is a God-given right. They were born to me and my wife. And I had so much anxiety in my body. But when it was time to act, God gave me the strength. There was times I just wanted to lay down and just sleep and cry. But God gave me the strength to keep myself with good behavior in the hospital, because now I'm around all these people who are trying to take my child away while my second child is in the hospital. That is very stressful. My wife is very stressed, and I'm going to court. And yet, I still had the strength. And so since then, I've discovered that no matter what happens, here in the village, people were not happy that I came back. And that now I'm using my grandfather's land. It had been almost 20 years since anyone used the Haveli. They thought they were going to repossess it, the neighbors. Then I come and I start planting fruit trees, I start making gardens, I tell them no more dumping trash here. And so many people came and they tried to beat me with sticks. And one other time as well. Both times when people tried to beat me, I had just finished reciting Sukhmani Sahib. And I discovered how much patience and love that I'm feeling. And that even though I have an open shot, I can punch them very good, or I can kick their knee, or I can do this. I had a feeling of so much compassion in my mind that they're just blind. Like, they do not have this blessed relationship that I have. They are so upset about so many things. I could see the stress in their mind, their eyes. I could see the stress in their bodies. So I have a deep feeling of affection towards them. And for me, this is not possible. This is not my own doing. This must be Guruji's power. All these things. Because I am not anything special. Anytime I did things according to my own understanding, I always failed. I've made many mistakes. So for me to do this, I knew that it was Guruji's help.
Guruji.
100%.
You think at that time Guruji was with you?
Absolutely.
ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਅਟੈਕ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਸੀ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਆਏ, ਕੁੱਟਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਏ, ਡੰਡੇ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਗੇ। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਪਾਠ ਉਦੋਂ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਟਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ। ਮੈਂ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਬੜੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ, ਇੱਕ ਵਧੀਆ ਮਨ ਨਾਲ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਖੁਸ਼ ਵੀ ਸੀ, ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਵੀ ਖੁਸ਼ ਸੀ। ਪਰ ਉਹ ਅਟੈਕ ਕਰਨ ਆਏ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਾਕਸਿੰਗ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਸ ਆਪਣਾ ਬਚਾਅ ਕੀਤਾ ਬਚਾਅ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਥੱਕ ਕੇ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ। ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਲਾਜ ਰੱਖੀ। ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ
May I say one thing?
ਹਾਂਜੀ
I just want to make sure that I am not encouraging people to do nothing if people are coming to attack you. I did do something. I recorded them. I recorded the whole conversation with my phone. I had 2 phones. The other phone, I did the video. And it is very important to know how to conduct yourself in the court, with the police, with all these things. And while I do not spend my time trying to pursue justice through the police, I don't call on them for justice, right? I know God will give me justice. It's still important that you have to do something. You have to have a plan. So I am not saying to people, oh, you know, if someone comes to beat you, just roll over, just be happy. That is definitely not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that if you stick connected to Guruji, Guruji will teach you what to do.
teach you what to do.
So if you have to punch them, you have to punch them.
Punch them. Yes.
I'm not saying never punch someone.
On that day, it was Guruji hukam.
Yeah. So I'm not saying apply the same thing all the time. I'm not saying always record people. You just have to have no fear. Guruji takes away your fear. So when you have no fear, you can think straight.
Also, Guruji gave us shastras like to protect ourselves.
Yes. So I learned at that point I had not shakt Amrit, and I was not Shastratari. So I learned the importance. Because actually, since I'm in Bana and since I have Shastad, nothing like that ever happens.
Never.
So it is actually good for peace to keep this way.
ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੇਟੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੁਣ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਕੀ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ?
ਮੇਜਰ ਸਿੰਘ।
ਮੇਜਰ ਸਿੰਘ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਤੇ ਮੇਜਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਦੋਂ ਆਏ?
ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ 7 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਆਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ। ਫਿਰ ਨਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਰਕੇ। ਫਿਰ ਉਦੋਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਬੀਬੀ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਮਰ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ। ਫਿਰ ਨਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਸੀਗਾ। ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਦਾਦੀ ਦਾਦਾ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਰਹਿਣ ਲਈ।
ਇਹ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਬਾਹਰ ਦਾ ਜੰਮਪਲ ਹੈ, ਜਨਮ ਵੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੋਇਆ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਬੋਲਦਾ। ਤੇ ਸੁੱਖ ਨਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ, ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਉਸ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਮੂਰੀ ਆ। ਸੰਥਿਆ ਵੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਰਿਹਾ। ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਬੱਚੇ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਯਾਦ ਹੈ?
ਜਪਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕੰਠ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਆ, ਰਹਿਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵੀ ਕੰਠ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਆ, ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਿੱਖਦਾ ਪਿਆ, ਨਾਲੇ ਜੋਪੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕੰਠ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਆ, ਤਵੇ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਸਵੇ ਕੰਠ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਆ, ਜਾਪ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਖਤਮ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗਾ।
ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ 50 ਬਾਣੀਆਂ ਲਗਭਗ ਯਾਦ ਕਰ ਲਈਆਂ ਨੇ। ਉਮਰ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ?
12 ਸਾਲ।
12 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਬਾਣੀਆਂ ਕੰਠ ਕਰ ਚੁੱਕੀਆਂ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਕੁਝ ਜਾਪ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸੁਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ?
ਓਂਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਤਵੇ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਸਵਈਏ श्रावक सुध समूह सिदान के देख प्रयोग कर जो चिति के सूर सरार्दन सुध साधक संत समूह अनेक मति के सारे ही देश को देख रहे हो मत कौन देखत प्राणपति के श्री भगवान की पाए कृपा हूँ ते एक रति बन एक रति के माते मतंग जरे जसंग अनूप तंग सुरंग सिवारे कोट तरंग रंग से कूदत पौन के कौन को जात निवारे पारी पजान के भूप पलीवत न्यावत शीस न जात बेचारे एते पे तो का भे पूपत अंत को नाग ही पाए पदारे जीत फरै सब देश सन को बाज टोल मृदंग निगारे गुंजत गूढ़ गजान के सुंदर हिंसत ही है राज हजारे पूत पविक पवान के भूपत कौन गिने नहीं जात पचारे श्रीपत श्री भगवान पजे बिन अंत को अंत के ताम सधारे तीर्थनाद आदम दास संजम ने मनेक बसेक है वेद पुराण कतेव करान जमीन जबान जबान के पेक है पौन हार जती जतता सब सब 4000 देख है श्री भगवान भजे बिन भूपत एक करती बिन एक न लेख है शुद्ध से पाद रंत दबास सार्श न दरजान दलेंगे पारी गमान परे मन में कर पर्वत पंख लैन हलेंगे तोर अरीर मरोर मवासन माते मतंगन मार मलेंगे श्रीपत श्री भगवान कृपा बिन त्याग जहान निदान चलेंगे वीर पार बड़े बड़े आर बचारे सार की तार पशैया तोर देश मलन मवासन माते के जान के मान मलैया गाड़े गडान के तोड़न हार सुबातन ही चकचार लवैया श्रीपत श्री भगवान पजे बिन अंत को श्रीपत श्री भगवान कृपा बिन त्याग जहान दान चलेंगे बीर पार बड़े बड़े अरब चारे सार की तार पशैया तोर्त देश मलिंद मवासन माते के जान के मान मलैया गाड़े गडान के तोड़न हार से बातन ही चकचार लवैया साहिब श्री सबको सिरनायक चाचक ने 101 दवैया दानव देव फनिंद ने साचर पूत पवेक पवान जपेंगे जीव जते जल में थल में पल ही पल में सब थाप तपेंगे पुन प्रतापन बाढ़ जाए तो तुन पापन के पुंज कपेंगे साध समूह प्रसन्न फिर जग सतर सब अवलोक चपेंगे मानव इंद्र के जिंद रात विजोन थलो को राज करेंगे कोट स्नान गजात कदार अनेक स्वम बरसात बरेंगे ब्रह्म हे सरबिसन सजीपत अंतव से जमपास परेंगे जय नर श्रीपद के प्रसह भक्ते नर फेर न देत रहेंगे कापे जो दो लोचन मूंद के बैठ रहे हो भक्तियान लगायो नाथ फ्रियोले सात समुद्र लोक के ऊपर लोक कवायो बास क्यों बख्यान से बैठ के ऐसे ही ऐसे सबैस पतायो साच को हो सुन ले सबैजन प्रेम कियो तन्ही प्रपायो काहुले पाहन पूज तरियो सर काहुले लिंगर लटकायो काहू लिखियो अरवा जी दिशा में काहू पशा को शीश नवायो कहू बतान को पूजत है बस को उमरतान को पूजन तायो कूर करया और रजय सब हीरक श्री भगवान को पेत न पायो वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮੂੰਹ ਤੋਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸੁਣਦਾ ਨਾ ਸਪੀਚਲੈਸ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਸ਼ੁੱਧ ਬਾਣੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੱਕ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਭਾਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ I never listen that kind of clear Gurbani from Bhai Sahib.
I understand. I prefer to listen to the recording of his part. It's hard to find clear part on YouTube. Yeah.
I become emotional when I listen Gurbani from. I think I need a break.
You know, this is a jewel. This is the treasure. It is very difficult to hold this in a child, their love for God. And that is something that I learned from my upbringing, is that it's very important to raise a child to love God. Always speak about God. Always talk about what God does for you. Always answer the questions. Even he tries to talk to me about other things sometimes, but he knows, I'm not too interested. I'm going to speak about God. But when I do, I will make it interesting for him. He is most interested when we start talking about God. Then he has so many questions. So it's very important to keep this jewel alive in your children. And it takes a lot of work. And I will just say, maybe this is not appropriate, but it's very important to keep your children away from bad images.
Yes.
Right? So the images you find on the internet, the bad movies, any of those things, they will rob your child. And so
child and his childhood.
They have to grow strong enough. Then one day they can make the decision. They can say, no, I don't want that. But first, you as a parent, you have to make it that it is not accessible. Because then they will become strong. And then they will say, you know what? That other person is doing it, but he's not strong. I prefer to stay with this. And then you have to be honest, you have to talk with your children. You have to tell them what are the dangers.
ਬੱਚਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਰੋਲ ਮਾਡਲ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਹਦੇ ਵਾਂਗ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ
I want to be myself. I don't have role models like my daddy ji, he's one of my role models. Papa ji, Nana ji, he's one of my role models. And God.
Basically, God is your role model.
From a young age, I told you before we started this that in the room that he was born in my house, I put the picture of Guru Gobind Singh Ji and Guru Nanak Dev Ji with Bhai Mardana. And this has been what he has seen, what he has admired from a very young age. He loves the spiritual men, the gurus. Anyone who's spiritual, he's always interested in talking. If I find someone in history or in another scripture, he is very much interested in that.
Basically, he is a child of God.
Yes, yes. I made a decision from a young age to dedicate my son to God. And God gave me that type of human being who enjoys it.
ਬੱਚੇ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਕਰਦਾ
ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਰਾਮ ਕਲੀ ਮਹਲਾ ਤੀਜਾ ਆਨੰਦ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਆਨੰਦ ਪਿਆ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਏ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਇਆ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦਾ ਪਾਇਆ ਸਹਿਜ ਛੇਤੀ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਵਾਦਾਈਆਂ ਰਾਗ ਰਤਨ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਪੜਿਆ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗਾਵਣ ਆਈਆਂ ਸ਼ਬਦੋਤਾ ਗਾਵੋ ਹਰੀ ਕੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਜਨੀ ਵਸਾਇਆ ਕਹਿ ਨਾਨਕ ਆਨੰਦ ਹੋਆ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਇਆ ਏ ਮਨ ਮੇਰਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਸਦਾਰ ਹੋ ਹਰ ਨਾਲ हर ना रहो तू मन मेरे दुख सब विसारना अंगीकारो करे तेरा कार्य सब सवारना सब नांगला सिमरत स्वामी सो क्यों मनो विसारे कह नानक मन मेरे सदा रहो हर नाले साचे साहेबा क्या नहीं कर तेरा करता तेरा सब कुछ है जिस दे सो पावे सदा सिफ्त सलाह तेरी नाम मन वसावे नाम जिनके मन वसिया वाजे शब्द कनेरे कह नानक सुख सचे साहेब क्या नहीं कर तेरा सचा नाम मेरा आधार साच नाम आधार मेरा जिन कुखा सब गवाइया कर सात सुख मन आए वसिया जिन इच्छा सब पूजाइया सदा कुर्बान कीता गुरु विटो जिस दियां है वडियाइया कह नानक सुनो संतो सवत्रो प्यारो सचा नाम मेरा आधारो वाजे पंज शब्द जित कर सपागे शब्द वाजे कला जित कर तारिया पंज दूध दूध वस कीते काल कंठ को मारिया तुर कर्म पाया तुद दृढ़ को से नाम हर कह लागे कह नानक ता सुख हो तित कर अनहद वाजे अनहद स्नोवड़ पागियो सगल मनोरथ पूरे पार ब्रह्म पाया उतरे सगल वसूरे दुख रोग संताप उतरे सुनी सच्ची बाणी संसार जन पे सर से पूरे गुरते जानी सुनते पढ़ीत कहते पवित्र सतगुर रहा भरपूरे बिन बंत नानक गुरु चरण लागे वाजे अनहद तूरे श्लोक पावन गुरु पाणी पिता माता तरत महत दिवस रात दुविधाई दाया खेला सगल जगत चंगिया बुरियाइया वाजा धर्म दूर करनी आपो अपनी के नेड़े के दूर जिनी नाम ते आया गेम सख्त काल है नानक ते उजले खेती छुट्टी नाल है वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह फतेह वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह फतेह
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
I'll just say he went a little bit fast there because he's getting over a cold. Yeah, so he's sniffling, so he went a little fast.
ਇਟਸ ਓਕੇ
Yeah.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸਿੱਖਣੀ ਕਦੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ
ਇਹ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੂਲ ਮੰਤਰ ਤਾਂ 3 ਜਾਂ 4 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਕਈ ਹਫ਼ਤਿਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਲਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਮੈਂ ਅਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ 6 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਇਆ ਨਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜਪਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਰਹਿਰਾਸ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕਈ ਪਾਠ ਸਿਖਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਤੱਕ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ 4 ਜਾਂ 5 ਸਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਅਤੇ ਫਿਰ 9 ਕੁ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਵਾਜਾ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ
ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਨਾਲ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਸਟੱਡੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਆਪਣੇ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਇੱਥੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਪੰਜਾਬ 'ਚ ਸਕੂਲ
ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਸਕੂਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਮੈਂ
ਇਹਦਾ ਸਕੂਲ ਬਾਹਰ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਯੂਰਪ ਵਿੱਚ
ਯੂਰਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਸਕੂਲ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
okay there is option in Europe you can also do online schooling
Yeah, there's a school in Europe that he gets his curriculum from. And then there's also websites that you can hire a teacher directly
okay
and pay them hourly. So we also use Superprof India, and he has quite a few teachers that I pay them per hour to teach him, and he does it on the iPad.
means ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਸਟੱਡੀਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਮਾਡਰਨ ਸਟੱਡੀਜ਼ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਵਿਚਾਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੰਥਿਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ
ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ ਬਲਿਸ ਕਿ ਲੋਟ ਆਫ ਬਲਿਸ ਆਨੰਦ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਦਾ
ਜਦੋਂ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਦੁਮਾਲਾ ਸਜਾ ਕੇ ਨੀਲਾ ਬਣਾ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਨਿਕਲਦੇ ਹੋ ਬਾਕੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਖੇਡ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਲੱਗ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ
ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਹੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ
It was his dream since he was little. I have pictures of him at 4 years old trying to tie a big dumala on himself.
okay
Yeah.
when he was
Every time
born-
he saw Nahang Singhs in photo or in real life when we came to Punjab, he was always so excited. Yeah. That he always said, that is what I want to be.
ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਡ੍ਰੀਮ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਸੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਐ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਡ੍ਰੀਮ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਰੋਜ਼ ਦੀ ਰੋਜ਼ ਨਵੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਿੱਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਪਾਠ ਜੇ ਸੁਣਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੰਪੂਰਨ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਲੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਲੋਕਾ ਕੰਠ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ।
ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਤੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਸੁਣਾ ਦਿਓ, ਪਹਿਲੀ ਅਸ਼ਟਪਦੀ ਸੁਣਾ ਦਿਓ
ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੋਂ।
ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ।
ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਏਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਗੌੜੀ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਮਹਿਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾ। ਆਦਿ ਗੁਰੇ ਨਮਹਿ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਗੁਰੇ ਨਮਹਿ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੇ ਨਮਹਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰਦੇਵੇ ਨਮਹਿ। ਅਸ਼ਟਪਦੀ। ਸਿਮਰੋ ਸਿਮਰ ਸਿਮਰ ਸੁਖ ਪਾਵੋ ਕਲ ਕਲੇ ਸਰ ਮਾਇਆ ਮਿਟਾਵੋ। ਸਿਮਰੋ ਜਾਸ ਬਿਸਮ ਪਰੇ ਕੈ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਤ ਅਗੰਤ ਨੇ ਕੈ। वेद प्राण सिमृत सदाखर कीने राम नाम एक आकर खिनका एक जिस जीव सावै ताकि महिमा घनी न आवै। कांकी एक है दर्श तोहारो नानक ओन सग मोयो धारो। सुखमणि सुख अमृत प्रभ नाम भगत न कह मन विश्राम रहाओ। प्रभ कै सिमरन गर्भ न बसै प्रभ कै सिमरन दुख जम नसै प्रभ कै सिमरन काल पर हरै प्रभ कै सिमरन दुश्मन टरै। प्रभ सिमरत कछ बिघ्न न लागै प्रभ कै सिमरन आंधे जागै प्रभ कै सिमरन पो न व्यापै प्रभ कै सिमरन दुख न संतापै। प्रभ का सिमरन साध कै संग सर्ब निधान नानक हर रंग। प्रभ कै सिमरन रिद्ध सिद्ध लो निध प्रभ कै सिमरन ज्ञान ध्यान तत् बुद्ध। प्रभ कै सिमरन जप तप पूजा प्रभ कै सिमरन बिन सह दूजा। प्रभ कै सिमरन तीर्थ स्नानी प्रभ कै सिमरन दरगह मानी। प्रभ कै सिमरन होए सुपला प्रभ कै सिमरन सुफल फला। से सिमरे जन आप सिमराय नानक ताकै लागो पाए। प्रभ का सिमरन सब ते ऊंचा प्रभ कै सिमरन उतरे ऊंचा। प्रभ कै सिमरन तृष्णा बुझै प्रभ कै सिमरन सब किछ सुझै। प्रभ कै सिमरन नाही जम त्रासा प्रभ कै सिमरन पूर्ण आसा।
Actually, most of the memorization that he knows from Sukhmani Sahib is not because he sat down and tried to memorize it. It is because he did it so many times. So when he was younger, I had him do it 40 days in a row. Then I had him do 144 days in a row. Then I had him do 200 days in a row, different times in his life. So that is why he is close to remembering it, not because he sat down and memorized the whole thing, but he sat with the Gurkha and he did it so many times.
So many times.
Yeah.
In a one day.
Yeah, so when he was 9 years old, he did Sukhmani Sahib on the speakers. We had an event at the Haveli and we did a polk. So he did a Sukhmani Sahib there.
Whenever you see him, like father see his child doing good, doing what he want, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ।
You know, you see how calm and relaxed he is after he does the part, right? He doesn't even want to speak after. And I love to see him like this. And so being a father, it brings you closer to God because you might be able to understand the way Guruji feels towards us, how much Guruji wants us to be in Chardi Kala. If we're not, if we are bringing stress on ourselves, it is hurting our relationship with Guruji. So it's the same thing with my son. I always want him to be in Chardi Kala in peace, and I can do my best to tell him the rasta, but it is up to him to do it. And if he doesn't do it, then I see very clearly the change that happens. He might get more emotional, he might get more attached to things, and you can very clearly see as a father how much it's changing. They might not even see it. They might think, oh, I'm just getting into this video game or I'm getting into this movie and it's okay, it's more fun. But as a father, you see, oh, you know what? It's robbing him of his joy.
Yes.
He's no longer joyful. So I immediately think back to myself. I think, okay, what am I doing that God might be feeling that way?
There are many people in India, they said that there is no any God. There is no any God. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਰੱਬ ਇੱਕ ਝੂਠ ਆ।
You're right.
God is a fraud,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this.
Well,
Do you
because
have any answer of that?
of course I have an answer to that. Yeah. The God that many people know is a fraud because it is taught by hypocrites. So, of course, people are going to say God is a fraud. They say, if this is holy man, if this is God's friend, if this is God's son, then why is he like this? Right? So, of course, they will think it's a fraud. Especially in India, instead of pursuing God, they might pursue education, master's, PhD. And so they say, well, I am much better for this. I have learned how to invent something, or I've learned how to work in a company. I am learning all the same things as someone, all the same things that someone should be learning if they are going to Gurdwara, if they are going to church, right? They should learn how to get along with people. So of course people will think that if they see the people who have a turban and a beard and they are supposed to represent God, but those people are not happy, you know? And so yes, they will think that, but they still have a fault of their own because they never pursued that relationship personally. And I promise you this, 100%, I will lay down my life for this statement, that if you personally talk to God, God will hear you, and you will know that He hears you. If you ask for this, if you say, God, please show me that you hear me. And so you might think, okay, first time it's coincidence. But what about the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time? So when you have a lifetime of talking to God and God hears you, then you know there is a God, right? I've been talking to God my whole life, and there's so many times I knew God heard me. So I can clearly see God has brought me here, God has brought me there, and it's not because of my thinking. If it was my thinking, when I was 25, my dream was to run a cannabis company in California. And I had an investor, and I had everything. And God took me from the highest dream that I could perceive of. For me, this was the highest. I will stay at my house. I used to live on a mountain overlooking the ocean in Santa Barbara. And all I needed is a cannabis company. Then I can help people heal from cancer. I said, this is the best life. This is the best thing I can do. God showed me, no, you can do better. Right? So when you have a relationship with God, God will always make a smarter decision for yourself than you could ever think for yourself. So I would invite you, just try. Stop looking at the people who say that they represent God. Stop. They don't. Okay, you don't have to look at all these people, all these babas and gurus and pastors and prophets or whatever they want to call themselves. You don't have to look at them. Just look at yourself and you will discover it.
You find Vaheguru inside you.
Yes. Vaheguru is that we're so amazed. We're in so much wonderment. It's so awesome.
Awesome.
When we perceive the Guru, when we perceive something new, something amazing, something truth,
Wow.
when it is taking us away from our darkness and now we come into truth, what is better than this? Right? Who doesn't want this? Who doesn't want to come to a place where they know more and more, they understand more and more about themselves, about other people, about the world? Who doesn't want this? I can tell you who doesn't want this. People who are not strong enough. Right? The more you know about yourself, the more you know about other people, you're going to see more pain. Right? That's why Guruji told us to become warriors. because we have to build up our threshold for pain. We have to build up the limit. How much pain can we handle? How much pain can we see and still remain in love? So that's why we have to become warriors. Then we can get to know the truth. We can understand more, know more, and still remain in love. We don't have to just... In this world, there's so many things you can do to distract yourself. If you don't want to contemplate God, if you don't want to remember God's name, you can do so many things and you'll be distracted. Right? But will you be strong? Will you be happy? Will you know justice? Will you know what is right, what is wrong? No, you have to ask, you have to be told.
You think there is a supreme power?
100%. That supreme power is love. And love has many attributes, which is wisdom, which is justice, which is power, which is kindness. And those things are very difficult for someone to see when they are having such a hard time.
Whenever you listen about Guru Nanak Sahib, what first thing come into your mind?
Bounty, fruitage. Guru Nanak Sahib wants us to take the blessing from God. God is always giving us this blessing. This is why people don't believe in God, because they say, how can God be love, justice, power, kindness, when I'm not experiencing any of that? Right? My life, I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about someone who is feeling that way. They're destitute. They don't feel any of that. So Guru Nanak Sahib Ji is the one who is bringing that to people. Who is saying, here, please take it. Making it understandable for people. So that they can appreciate it. They can hold it. So, I just see love, the undeserved kindness. I think of my grandfather, honestly. For me, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the roop of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and my grandfather is the same. And that is the power of Siki. Guruji wants to become manifest through human being.
Guru Gobind Singh Ji gave his roop to us.
Yes.
Guru Sahib ne ek gal kahi si mere darshan karne hun ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਦੇ darshan kar lo. When you got to know about Guru Gobind Singh Ji,
I saw the photo, I think it's by Punjab Art, and it was the photos from Punjab Art that I bought of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, he's reading the Adi Granth in front of the Sangat. And I saw another photo online of him receiving Amrit with Mata Sahib Kaur next to him. And at that time, I did not even know what is happening. I just saw water. And for me, that was symbolic enough for me. But from the time that I had that photo on my phone as my wallpaper, so many things happened in my life. So I won't take up too much time to talk about it. But one thing happened that totally changed my life. I thought my life was going up, 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 and then something happened and it just crushed me. And then a few months later, my second son was born, and the complications. And then I had to deal with the things going, and then his passing. And that whole time, every time I look at my phone, I see Guru Gobind Singh Ji receiving the Amrit with his wife. And I cannot explain to you what that meant to me, because there was so many different moments when I truly, truly needed it. And so after that, that was the only thing left to become. was to become that powerful servant that Guru Gobind Singh Ji inspired in me, and what I saw when I looked at that photo. Right? I wanted that for myself. I didn't want to become him. I wanted to become the most powerful servant that I could become, because I knew that my life has value, has purpose to Guruji. So not in idolatry way that I wanted to become him. I wanted him to help me become the best I can become. And it was very touching to me when I read, or my papa told me the story of Guru Nanak Dev Ji when he met Babur,
Yes.
right? And I think he said something to the effect that these are all cattle, referring to the Indians, and Babur is a lion, you know, and he's here to just wreak havoc, you know. But then when I saw that Gobind and Govind was a name for Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna is always about taking care of the cows, I said, oh wow, Vaheguru, I understand. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he saw the state of the people in Hindustan, and he saw this lion who is coming to take advantage. And so Guruji made us into lions. So instead of taking advantage of the cattle, we will lovingly take care of them. And for me, that sums up everything about Siki. That sums up everything about being a Sardar. Is we look at the people, I don't want to say less fortunate, they may not be less fortunate, but they are different. They're not armed the same way we are. They're not dressed the same way we are. They have different focuses. They have a different life. And instead of going and getting rid of them or making them become like us, we're just going to love them. Right? And we're going to show them the beautiful bounty that Guru Nanak Dev Ji has from Guru. We're going to show them, look at, this will make your life better. This will make all our lives better. No, he gets, when he listens to the conversation, he gets very peaceful.
Very peaceful.
Yeah.
ਬੱਚੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਚਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਪਤਾ?
You have to speak with.
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਪੜਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਫਤਿਹਗੜ੍ਹ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋ, ਚਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋ, ਤੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ? ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਨੀਹਾਂ 'ਚ ਚਿਣਵਾਏ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਛੋਟੇ ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦੇ, ਜਦੋਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦੇ ਚਮਕੌਰ ਦੀ ਗੜੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਹ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ?
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕਰਨਾ, ਪਰ very brave and touching. The moment was touching, very touching, and kind of sad, but kind of happy too. They left their legacy. I don't know really what to say. Really what to say.
So let me model to you how I talk with my son, right? When I want him to understand something. Okay, so I'm going to just model to you the kind of conversation that we have on our own. So beta, do you think that they felt fear when before the moments of death?
No.
Why?
Because they knew God was with them, and that the worst that could happen was that they were going to die, but they would have left their legacy and they would be with God. But
Now,
they wanted to fight for their religion and their happiness, their freedom.
and can any man kill the soul?
No.
So their death is a temporary death. So do you think their feelings toward other men, their fellow man, was exceptional?
Yes.
So in their life, do you think they thought about themselves more or about other people more?
Others.
And what enabled them to have that kind of awareness?
Basically, a thought that they're all in this world to help others and not focus on themselves. This life is very temporary, and it is a temporary death. We will go to God after this. We'll have many more chances. Many more things will happen. And so they knew that they were supposed to help people in their life, and they were supposed to worship God, praise Him, every breath.
So why is it that you think that we even know about their story? Why did God want to preserve that for us?
Good example. An example for all the youngins and different people.
And can you be more specific? An example of what? Like for us to do what?
Basically, that we should help others, and that we should not be all about ourselves, and that this life is temporary, like I said, and that we should be on this earth to be praising God.
Last question. Do you think the state of being that the Char Sahibzades represent is achievable for us as human beings, and even more so for young people?
Yes.
Okay. Part B to that question, how? How do we get to that state?
Praising God and trying to be the best of us that we can be.
Try.
Be. Like, it's the example they were setting.
But how do we be that? How do we try? What do we have to do?
Having faith in God.
Having faith in God?
Yes.
Okay. And how do we build that faith?
By Simran?
Faith in the faith in the faith. Like, it's kind of, I really don't know how to explain it.
It's okay. Just take your time.
Let's take your time.
Yeah. So, how do we? Where does our faith come from?
Heart. From our heart.
Okay. So, how do we increase our faith?
Increase the love in our heart.
And how do we increase love in our heart?
Praising God.
And how do we praise God?
Read part. We can recite His name.
Yes.
Pray to Him.
So, by reciting His name, doing part, and this and that, right? So that's how I talk with my son. I realize that these are leading questions, right? I'm leading him to the answer. But for a young person, it's very important that they know these answers and that they learn how to say it. Because then when they're older, at times when they're lost, they will remember the things that they said, and they will remember, okay, they have to make sense of it again. Right? Right now it might seem simple or it might seem complicated. As we get older, we have to keep making sense of these things. Every day I have to go over my faith. I have to go over, why do I think this way? Some days it's hard. Some days I forget. Honestly, I forget. And then I have to sit and meditate and be there until I remember.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਮੂਵੀ ਕਦੇ ਕੋਈ Song ਕਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਗਾਣਾ ਕੁਝ ਸੁਣੇ ਕਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਮੂਵੀ ਦੇਖੀ ਕਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਾਰਟੂਨ
मूवी तो देखे है, कार्टून तो देखे है। हाँ जी।
ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਦਿਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ
You know, a message to the young people that doing these things are very hard, like doing part, doing this stuff, like when you don't have the motivation, you don't have the strength to do it, you don't want to do it, you just want to sit there and play video games or something. But you have to have the faith and you have to have the discipline to do that stuff when times are hard. And so yes, I do watch TV and stuff. I do listen to music, but I'm balanced. I still do my parts. I still set a good example.
ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਈਫ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਬਣੇ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਬੋਰਨ ਐਂਡ ਬ੍ਰੌਟ ਅਪ ਬਾਹਰ ਦੇ ਨੇ, ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ ਨੇ, ਕੋਈ ਲਿੰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਨਾਲ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਚਲੋ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੱਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਇਸ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਹਿ ਪਾਏ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬੱਚਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਾਫੀ ਛੋਟਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਾਂਭਣਾ ਸੀ। You should tell me about your wife.
Okay.
How she come to Sikhi, how she know about Sikhi, and how she is proceeding this.
So the thing that brought us together, why she liked me, is because when we would hang out, she would ask me questions about God, and I would answer her questions. So that is what made us come together, right? The second thing is my mother liked her, right? At that time, well, she is vegetarian, so she was vegetarian even back then. And then my mother taught her how to cook Indian food, and she learned very well. So that's all it took. And then I think as my journey to Siki happened, she's always like a few steps behind. Like, I mean in the way that she's asking me, why are you doing this? Why, right? So she's not afraid to ask me why. She probably asked me thousands of times, right? So I explain it. And for me, it's good. When my children ask me questions, when my wife asks me questions, I enjoy it. If you're asking me a question, I'm learning as I'm speaking. So I enjoy it. And I would say that is it, right? It's like she sees the changes in myself, right? As I have more and more support from Guruji, the changes that happen in myself. And then when she does the change, then she sees the change in herself.
Awesome. Can we talk to her?
Yeah, let me see if she's available.
Okay. ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਈਫ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੁਝ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ, ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ। ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਇਸ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਪਾਈ, ਪਰ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਦਾਂਗੇ, ਸਾਂਝੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਦਾਂਗੇ। You can now give any message to Punjabis, to Sikhs who are watching this video.
My message is simple, meaning that it never changes. Until it happens, my message will be the same. And it is that we need to try to get back to the pure and natural way of things. We need to try as much as possible to do the farming organic, especially if we're sick, especially if we're Sardar. We have to ask, how would Guru Nanak Dev Ji farm? Right? And I know that we're in a much different world, and it's not possible to just farm 5 acres or 20 acres or however much you have the same way Guru Nanak Dev Ji would. I know that. I'm not, oblivious to that. But I do think that we have the ability to work towards it, to set a goal, to say, you know what, maybe in 20 years, Punjab can be like this, or my farm can be like this. And each year, I will do a little more, I will do a little more, I will do a little more. And I will teach my children that, hey, instead of going outside, we can stay here, we can work the land, we can sell organic produce, right? We can make herbs, we can make special plants. We don't have to just do the same plants. We can find plants that people need and that they will be able to use, that will make them strong. So we should take farming more seriously is my suggestion as an organic farmer. So I did organic farming in California. I learned other types of farming like permaculture. And I think it definitely can happen here. When I read the old Rahats, it is so much, okay, now is the time for prasad. When this happens, distribute prasad to the Sangat. When this happens, distribute prasad to the Sangat. So what are the main ingredients in prasad? We have wheat, kanak, we have sugar, and we have ghee. At least those things, at the very minimum, should be pure. We should be having pure wheat, pure sugar, and pure ghee. This will dramatically change the state of mind that we have and our fertility. So many times I've seen a family, because I'm a vad, I'm a hakim. So right now I'm changing my focus. But for the first several years, when I was in Punjab, I was seeing many people, and they were coming, and I was doing seva. And the amount of people that said, we cannot have a baby. We really want to have a baby. We want to have a baby.
It is a very big problem.
It is a very big problem. And when I do my work, I listen for God's voice. And not every time, but many of the times, I knew 100% certain that if they went organic, if they made their farm more and more organic, that a baby would come. Because right now we are in such a special time. There's lots of great beings that want to come to this earth. And why not come to Sikh Sardar family, especially landowning, farming family, who has the ability to be free from the worldly bureaucracy and politics. So this is such an amazing opportunity. We should use it. I heard God's voice tell me, if they go organic, they will have a baby. 100%. Because it's not even the effect that it will have on their health. Eating organic food will help you to become more fertile. Doing exercise will help you. But also, it opens the channel for a pure being to come into your family who is waiting for that. And maybe it is a blessing that you do not have a child yet, because the child that is supposed to come is waiting for you to change your lifestyle. So I would say, take bureaucracy out of farming. Really look, these unions and these governments who are controlling farms, produce, MSPs, all these things, do they really have your best interest in heart? Or are they trying to get power for themselves? Right? So, we should go organic. B, those who consider themselves Sardars, those who want to help save Punjab, especially if you are part of the protest, right? Can we, instead of protesting against the government, because no government on this earth is legitimate, okay? So instead of protesting against governments that are going to come and go, India will always be here, but governments will come and go. Right? Can we come up with a solution? This is especially to the Sikh people who are all over the world and who have so much power to finance. If we want the land here to stay with farmers, small farmers, can we develop a system to where if they grow organic, that we can help distribute this produce to the Sangat worldwide?
Yes.
Right?
Also, when we discussed before video, we discussed about the concept of Chardi Kala.
Yes.
I think that concept of Chardi Kala is missing now in our community. I think it is a best concept
Yes.
in the world, Chardi Kala.
Yes. I came to Siki because of Chardi Kala. My yoga teacher, Dr. Jaspreet Singh, he taught me this concept of Chardi Kala, unbounded optimism. And personally, as a Vad, as a Hakim, health is directly connected with our ability to experience Chardi Kala. In my mind, I say, let Anand be your healing. So Anand is the most powerful healing force there is. When we have Anand in our bodies, our cells are reproducing. We are increasing our healing capabilities. So we should take very good care of our health. We should do exercise that's good for us. We should eat things that are good for us. We should spend time with people who are good for us. We should go places that are good for us. We should feel refreshed every time we go do something that's good for us. If you don't feel refreshed after you eat, it probably was not good for you. If you don't feel refreshed after being with Sangit or after visiting a relative, it probably was not good for you. So we have these stresses in our life, these stresses, and they are crowding out our Chardi Kala. So are we taking time to do the opposite? Of course you have to go visit your family, even if they stress you out or not. You have to. So then what are you doing to make yourself stronger? So that these stresses are not pushing the Chardi Kala out of your system. Right? It takes action. We can't just say, oh, this is just religious. And as long as I say my 2 hours of Simran, of course I will have Chardi Kala. Because if that was true, then we would have no problems in Punjab. We have Paat on the speakers everywhere. There are so many people doing Akhand Paat, Sahaj Paat, Simran. There should be a utopia, a paradise by now, if that is true, if that is all it takes. No, we have to fight against the things that are false, that are bad for us. And for sure, I do not think if Guru Gobind Singh Ji was here on this earth, that he would take wheat that is impure and make prasad. Maybe his power could make it pure. I'm not doubting that. But he would use pure wheat. He would use pure sugar. He would use pure ghee. And it's coming to the point that many of our bodies cannot even handle these things because they are so wrecked. But this is actually the most healthiest thing for our body, if it's prepared properly.
Prasad is more
Yeah,
healthiest thing.
ask Guru Gobind Singh Ji, can we have Siki without prasad? It's 100% linked. So that prasad should be organic, it should be pure. It hurts my heart right now. Most the gurdwaras I go to, I have to decline when they're offering me the prasad. Because for the first 3 years I was here, I didn't. And I was always having bodily pains. I was always having problems in my cervical area. People here, they say cervical, right? So I was always having problems. When I give up the non-organic ghee, the non-organic wheat, those problems go away. The non-organic sugar, they're gone. So that is what I have to say. That is my message. My social media is organic Punjabi.
Okay.
My message is simple, organic Punjabi. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And this is not just to Sikhs, it's to everyone.
You are now living in Duapa.
Yes.
I think most of villages are here. There is no youngsters in that villages because they go outside from India. They set up in abroad and abroad for their luxury life or their work life. You think it is good?
No. No, because I know what it's like abroad. And there's many good things.
Because you are born and brought up.
I was born and brought up in Toronto. Then my whole working life, I lived in California, Santa Barbara, which is a beautiful city. I lived there my whole adult life, and I was self-employed. I had a very good life. And personally, I don't think that the life abroad is better than the life here, unless you're having such a great life, which very few people are doing that. So to me, they're giving up something to go get something worse. Why? Especially if you're giving up land. Oh, please, please, do not give up your land to go outside. Do not. Do not do that. Because that is worth so much. And how long will it take you to buy a house, to buy a car, to buy land over there? It will take so much time. But I understand why people do it. Because there is very little opportunity. From what I've seen, most people that are ages 35 and up, probably younger, maybe even 30 or 25, they're exhausted. They're tired, they're cranky. So why would a child want to stay here? Nothing is going to change. It's the same thing. And you go in the village, same people talking. I'm not talking against them. But it's the same boring thing.
Same boring things. Right.
So why do they want to stay? We really need the leaders to help make this a more intelligent place. And also, we need to remove any prejudice that we have. Of course, we always have to remember justice. So 100% there has been injustice done to Sikhs and Punjabis here. There has been, and we can never forget that. But at the same time, we should not confine ourselves. We should go and we should spend our time trying to get to know other people, try to overcome our differences. I understand that maybe if we go to another part of India, maybe people are not going to like you so much. It's possible. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
No.
But it will be the same if you go abroad.
Yes.
And you have to learn how to overcome these things, especially if we're Sardar. Especially if we're saying that. Then we do it. The onus is on us that we have to learn how to overcome those things. We can't make people accept us, but we have to do our part.
ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ ਲੋਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਰੂਪ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਲੋਕ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ
Yes.
Whenever you go to other states, people meet them, people love you.
Yes, yes. I was not always in Chola. So last time I went to Rajasthan, I was in kurta pajama. It was before I shakti Amrit. Right?
Kurta pajama and turban.
I was with kurta pajama and turban, and I was also wearing my karpan. Because I knew I was going to shak Amrit. So, yes, I received so much love. Because, you know, people, they want to see that you love them. If you love them, it will happen. You know, the only place, the place I received the least love is here in my village. But that is only because some people, they believed lies. Right? Because I'm in a land dispute. So one of the first things that my family tried to do was spread lies. But over time, people see that it's not true. So other than that, when I go places in Punjab or I go places outside of Punjab, I always receive love. And I give more love than I receive.
Last question. Punjab ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿਖਾਈ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਸਿਖਾਈ
Look, instead of focusing on Gurmukhi, of course I value Gurmukhi. My son learned Gurmukhi before he learned English. Okay, so Gurmukhi is very important. But it is not everyone has the same relationship that I do with Gurmukhi. I learned Gurmukhi myself when I was 12 years old. I was not even sick, but I knew one day I will read the Guru Granth Sahib. So I taught myself Gurmukhi. So for me, it's very important. So other people, they might not have the same experience. So I will just say this. I will say, teach your children to love God from their heart. Keep talking to them. Keep teaching them to the point where they feel comfortable. They're not shy to express love. So it doesn't matter what religion you are. If you're Christian and you happen to be watching us right now, teach your child a Bible scripture. But you want to get them to the point where from their own heart, they choose to sing to God. That is the most important thing. And naturally, if they are there and they are sick, they will learn Gurmukhi. Because that is the most satisfying praise there is. It's the most satisfying. The Gurus gave us Gurmukhi for a very important reason. So it will be more satisfying than anything else. But first you have to get the love for praise in them first. And first, before that, you have to have that yourself. They will not do it if you don't have it. They're not going to listen to a teacher at Siki camp.
Yes.
Right? Why are they going to listen to him?
Listen to him.
Right? They're annoyed already. They're just going to camp because they don't want to be at home. Right? So they're not, a few will, but most of them, that's not going to be motivating. It's you as a parent that is going to motivate them.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਤਾਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਟੇ ਆ, ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਗਲਤ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੋਵੇ, ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵੱਲ ਧਿਆਨ ਦਿਓ, ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਵੱਲ ਨਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਦਿਓ। ਮੈਸੇਜ ਹੈ ਵੈ ਦੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੂਹਰੇ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ, ਪਿਓ ਪੁੱਤ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਹੋ, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਹੋ। ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਸਨ ਉਹ ਉਸੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਆਪਣੀ ਕਿਰਤ ਵੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਵਿਹਲੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਕਿਰਤ ਵੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਵਿੱਦਿਆ ਵੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਫੰਡ ਛਕਣ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਨਸੈਪਟ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਭੁੱਲਦੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਸਕੇ ਵੀ ਅਸਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡਾ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਵੱਡਾ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਹੋਰ ਪੋਡਕਾਸਟ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹੋ।